Hey everybody, welcome back to Black Lotus, where we talk about all things strange and unusual. And today we are going to be talking about the Kingman UFO crash of 1953, which was severely overshadowed by Roswell. But it apparently did happen, and it included many more spaceships than Roswell. Roswell only had, I think, just like the one
Right.
UFO. But anyway, before we get into that, as always, I want to remind everybody that we do have a group over at Facebook, and it's called the Black Lotus Discussion Group. And I'll drop a link for that in the description. And if you're into these topics at all, you definitely want to check this place out. Great group of people. We don't have any trolls. We have experts there on the paranormal and ufologists and that sort of thing. So most definitely check us out over there. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos. We love to see the thumbs up. One last thing, I want to remind everybody that we have a brand new podcast, and that's over at Podbean and over at iHeartRadio. And there, what we do is we bring you the latest in paranormal news and events. And this week, we are going to start doing something on that podcast, and we're going to start conducting interviews. And so if you have had a paranormal experience, an experience with UFOs or cryptids or what have you, drop us an email, and you can find you just send that email to blacklotuspodcast@gmail.com. And so yeah, definitely check it out. So anyway, what we're talking about here is back in the spring of 1953. Apparently, the Atomic Energy Commission unleashed a series of massive explosions in the Nevada at a Nevada test site, and it was codenamed Upshot Knothole. In the same time period, across the state line in Arizona, witnesses reported seeing a fleet of 11 flying saucer-type craft engaged in what looked like a dogfight. Now, according to historian and former museum curator Harry Drew, 3 of those unknown craft ended up on the ground near Kingman in 1953. Now, Ralph, you looked into that, and he has a website, and he does tours. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can actually go to the place in the desert where these supposedly crashes took place, and I didn't see how much he's charging for the tours. I know for a video about it, it's $14.95. But yeah, he says that there was 11 UFOs, 1 landed and 2 crashed, and I guess there was 44 extraterrestrials involved, 6 taken alive, 4 taken dead, 2 taken to the sheriff's office that escaped. So that's a lot of involvement.
Two that escaped from the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
I just kind of wonder why they would bring him to a sheriff's office instead of like an air base or something like that.
I don't know.
That seems kind of odd. Where's the website where they can find this?
It is Adventures. ALPventures.com. It's the Kingman UFO Tours.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so speaking of him, he went on to say, he says, I didn't go into this with a preconceived notion that I would find the Kingman UFO. I never expected a second one, and I thought I was all done, and then information about the other ones came to me. And I guess he went through quite a lot. He went through a decade or so of pouring through old records and newspaper accounts about this.
Try to find out as much as he could.
Yeah. And then the story for this was made famous, or relatively famous, in 1953. But Roswell didn't really become very well known until later on, even though it happened in 47.
Right.
Yeah. So.
What I find interesting about this whole thing is they're talking about how the 3 ended up on the ground. One of them crashed into a mountain and totally was disintegrated. Mm-hmm. And one of them hit a dirt mound, a butte, and crashed and it had some damage. But one of them landed with no damage at all. So without the one without damage, they said they had army people around it, keeping track on it. And you go back there now, and during these tours, you'll actually see they have old MRIs and stuff like that laying around back from the 50s. Mm-hmm. So there was actually proof that something did happen.
Well, and I read that he did some research on the crash site itself, and he said it seemed very apparent that people were there camping out, soldiers and such, like you said, the MRIs and that kind of thing. But yeah. And they were from 1953.
Right. So exactly.
Yeah. So apparently something did happen there. I wonder if this guy has any debris from the crash site.
You would think that he would scour it and find some, but I'm sure somebody cleaned it up beforehand.
Yeah. There here in Vegas, we live here in Vegas, and there is a place here, and it's called Creepy. Was it Creepy Vegas?
Creepy Vegas.
Yeah. And anyway, it's a bar, but they have a museum tour kind of thing that they do every Saturday night here, and you can actually look at and I guess handle debris that was apparently from Roswell.
Right.
And I was mentioning to Ralph, it kind of surprises me that they would allow people to do that, to get their oils all over the objects.
Right.
But, I don't know. But if you're in the Vegas area on a Saturday night, definitely go check it out. It might be interesting. We've yet to do it, but
maybe we can do that as an episode one of these times.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a quick episode today, Ralph, but because there's not really a whole lot to be said about this, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that this relatively unknown UFO crash happened, and like I said, and Roswell just completely overshadowed it.
Well, one of the things they were saying too was that it was the UFOs were knocked out of the sky by the explosions. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the reasons why they were trying to figure out what made these UFOs crash. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I don't think it was probably the explosions. Why couldn't it be if they were saying they were in a dogfight? Maybe they were hit.
Well, they were described as a dogfight, but from what I understand, all of the crafts were of the same nature. And so I wonder, you've seen videos of UFOs where they're just like zipping around each other. And I can see how back in 1953, when
it would look like dogfighting.
Yeah, those videos weren't common as they are today, that they would think it was opposing forces dogfighting. Right. Yeah.
Good analogy.
But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it happened?
Something happened. I don't know if that's what happens, but something happened.
So anyway, folks, thanks a lot for listening. And until next time, keep thinking and question everything.